Here we have the inside of the Auto Sleeper Symbol Plus. If we firstly come to the main control panel just here, we can turn the 12 volt on. Once we've done this, we can then turn the water pump on as long as we've got water in the fresh tank. We need the water pump on to be able to get water out of the taps, flush the toilet and fill the boiler if it has been drained. Beneath that we have levels for how much water is in the fresh tank and how much water is in the waste tank. And then condition of leisure battery, condition of vehicle battery, how many amps we are currently using or have actually coming into the van, mains current and solar current. We then have the master switch for all of the internal lights, and we then have awning light on and off. Battery selection next, so we can switch between the vehicle and the leisure battery to run the back end of the motorhome. Whichever battery you have selected is the battery you are charging if you are hooked up to main supply. We then have settings menu just here, and within this we have charge selection. So at the moment both are set in smart, so when we are hooked up to main supply, the battery charger will flick between the leisure and the vehicle battery, and at the moment also the solar is set the same way, so again we'll flick between the leisure and the vehicle. We then have automatic tank fill. This one needs to be on if you are using the whale filler hose on the outside of the van. If you are using just the standard hose pipe point, this does not need to be on. And then beneath that we have tank heaters for the waste tank and the fresh tank. So if you are using the van in extremely cold climate, you can pop these on to avoid any frost damage occurring. We then have lights to be switched on when we turn the power on. So at the moment the main lights will not come on, or the awning light. We can easily change depending on preference. Key beeps are currently on, and water levels alarm is also on. So if your waste tank is high, it will let you know, and if your fresh tank is low, it will let you know. We can adjust the backlight of the screen's brightness, and we can also then decide if we want the screen to time out. We can then set the time and the date, and then we just go back to the beginning again. Along the top we have external temperature. This will illuminate whenever the solar panel is active. This one here is letting us know we have main supply connected to the van. It's giving us the humidity and the internal temperature. Beside the main control panel, we then have the whale control panel for the heating and the hot water. You'll see we have here the water heater and then the heating beneath it, and as we press the button, icons will appear until we eventually turn back off again. So if we start with the water heater, and we have the first icon just here, which is a picture of a snowflake. The snowflake is the boiler's frost protection mode. So if you have water in the boiler but you don't necessarily want to be heating it, you can pop this function on, and then if the external temperature outside drops below 3-4 degrees, the tank heater will then come on to protect it from frost damage. We then have a single wavy line. Wavy lines represent main supply, so we are now heating up hot water on mains electricity using 1 kilowatt. We then have two wavy lines, so mains electricity using 2 kilowatts. So just dependent on the ampage of the site that you're on to stop yourself from tripping. If we have no mains, we can run off the gas tank. And then we also have dual fuel. So if you want virtually instant hot water and you have both power sources available, you can run on gas and mains at 1 kilowatt and gas and mains at 2 kilowatts. Whenever the unit is consuming gas, you will get a little flame here to let you know. And if there is a problem with the water heater, a red exclamation mark will appear where my finger is here. And to know what the problem is, all you then need to do is press and hold the button here, and then you will get a series of red lights depending on the problem. And then if you look in the manual, you can find out. If it's a basic problem and you think you've rectified it, you can then reset the control panel to get rid of the red exclamation mark. If it's a water heater issue, just hold the water heater button in and then press plus. And if it's a heater problem, hold the heater button in and again press plus. After your water heater, you then have your heating, and virtually the same again. A single wavy line, again main supply, but this time using about 500 watts. 2 wavy lines, 1 kilowatt, and 3 wavy lines, 2 kilowatts. Again, we have gas on its own, and then we also have dual fuel. We control the temperature just here on the plus and the minus. Well, recommend if you need your heating on at night time to just drop down to the moon. A, it's a low heat, and secondly, the fan will be nice and quiet. And if it is just a warm day and you just want the air circulated around the van, you can drop it to the snowflake just here. If we now go underneath the bench seat just here, we will then see the location for the leisure battery just here. We then have the smart fill point just here for the whale filler hose. You can see the solenoid all just here, so if you are popping stuff in this area here, just be careful nothing knocks the wires off the terminals. We then have the pressure switch just here, so if you're getting overrun on your pump, etc., or a lot of pump shudder, you can slightly adjust this. Do be careful, don't go mad and twist it like mad. We then also have the consumer unit just here. So we have the main strip switches just here. We have the 3 individual MCBs, RCD and test button just here. So if something isn't working on main supply, just check to see whether or not you've tripped at this point here. And then we have the 12 volt fuses just here. Running along the top, we have isolator buttons for bits and bobs that use main supply. So the amber one is for the whale heating and hot water. So if I press this and I'm running either on main supply, you will get a red exclamation mark because we've isolated it here. We have the green one for the onboard battery charger. Again, we might as well leave this one alone as we want to be charging the batteries up when we're hooked up to main supply. This one here will illuminate when we have reverse polarity connected to the van. If that is the case, these Sergeant units will make it safe and reverse it again. This button here is full system shutdown, so if you are not using the motorhome for a long period of time, you can press this button here and it will then shut the back end down and kill any residual draw on the leisure battery. We then have some more 12 volt fuses here, and again they're labelled up. As we move along, we then have the Thetford fridge. So to turn the unit on, just hold the button in here. This is an automatic fridge, so if we now press this button, we can put it onto A for auto, and it will then find the best power source it can for us. So because we're currently hooked up to main supply, it's put us directly onto mains. If I then went outside now and pulled the mains lead out, it would then automatically attempt to fire itself up onto gas, and as soon as we start the engine, it will then go over to 12 volt maintain to keep itself cold whilst on the move. You will see the screen goes blank after a few seconds. All we need to do is just tap the on off button and it will re-illuminate to let you know what it's up to. We can take it out of auto, but it's a bit redundant, so I can manually put it onto mains. I can manually put it onto 12 volt maintain. We are going to get an error code at the moment because the engine isn't running. And I can manually put it onto gas. But really, the easiest one to have it on is automatic. Temperature control, just here. And then we have the freezer box above, fridge below. And then turn the unit back off, just like so. Above that we have the pull-out work surface. Wardrobe just here with the small table and pole. We then have the microwave just here. So here we have the light switch which illuminates underneath the work surface, and beside that we then have the isolator switch for the microwave. Microwave behaves like every microwave really now. We have quick start and stop. We have power settings, etc. all above, defrost just there. These particular microwaves do not require a microwave plate. Beneath that we then have the coffee maker just here. And then we have the hob. Push in, twist and press the igniter to light. And then beneath that we have the oven and the grill. So push in to the left for the oven, and then if we go the opposite way we can then fire up the grill. Above our heads we have the Omnivent fan. To open the roof vent, just twist and then we have on and off in the centre, and then you'll see you've got arrows out for extraction and arrows in for cooling, and it's variable fan speed just by pressing. Do make sure that the roof vent is down again for travel. Here we have the washroom. So within here we have the Thetford toilet. The bowl does swivel all about. Open to the cassette just here on the lever, and then blue button to flush. And then close to the cassette again just here. If this has been left open and you try to remove the cassette, it will not come out. So if you are getting resistance, just make sure nobody's left the lever open. And then we have the shower just here, and the basin.